I see you standing there, my child. Your hand is resting on your phone again. You picked it up a few minutes ago, looked at the same screen, read the same words, and put it back down. Then you reached for it again. Not because anything changed. You were hoping something inside you had. You have written the message in your mind more times than you can count. You have imagined the conversation going well, then badly, then differently altogether. You have walked through every possible answer before anyone has even spoken, and now you are tired from conversations that have never happened. I see that. I see the way your thumb pauses over the screen. I see the unfinished sentence. I see the decision you keep moving from one side of your mind to the other, hoping that if you turn it enough times, one side will finally feel safe. But neither one does, and there is something you have not admitted plainly yet. You are not afraid to move, my beloved. You are afraid of moving in the wrong direction. That is what has been keeping you here. You wonder what happens if you choose the wrong door. What happens if you speak and wish you had stayed silent? What happens if you leave and later discover you should have stayed? What happens if you stay and one day realize I was asking you to move? So you wait for certainty. You wait for a feeling strong enough to remove every question. You wait for me to show you the whole road before you let your foot leave the place where it is standing. I know why. You have already been disappointed by things you once felt sure about. You have watched plans change after you trusted them. You have seen doors close after you thought they were opening. Somewhere along the way, uncertainty stopped feeling like an ordinary part of life and started feeling like danger. So now you check everything twice, then 3 times, then once more. My child, I am not disappointed in you for this. I am not standing over you asking why your faith is not stronger. I am sitting with you right here, in this unfinished moment, where the answer has not arrived and the road ahead still looks darker than you wanted it to look. Put the phone down for a moment, not forever, just for this moment. Let your fingers loosen. Let your hands rest where they are. Take one slow breath before your mind reaches for tomorrow again. You do not have to decide your entire life in this breath. You do not have to know what happens next week. You do not have to solve the conversation before it begins. Stay here with me. There is something I want to show you about the ground beneath your feet. Something you have been missing because your eyes have been fixed so far ahead, searching the distance for proof that it is safe to move. I will show you. But not yet. First, I need you to understand why standing here has made you so tired. Because you have called yourself confused. You have wondered whether you are falling behind. You have quietly asked whether everyone else received directions that somehow never reached you. I heard that question too, and I have not ignored it. For now, my beloved, do not force an answer simply because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. Let the room stay quiet. Let the screen stay dark. Let your shoulders come down just a little. You are not required to know everything while you are here with me. I know where this road goes. I know what is beyond the turn you cannot see. And I know exactly where your feet are standing now. So remain here for another moment, not frozen, not abandoned, just here, with me, before I show you the road. My child, I need you to understand why your feet have become so tired. You have been trying to see much farther than I ever asked you to see. You have been looking too far ahead, my beloved, far beyond this room, beyond this day, beyond the decision in front of you. Your mind has been traveling roads your feet have never touched, trying to discover what waits at the end before you allow yourself to take the beginning. What if this does not work? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I lose what I already have? What if the answer comes too late? What if I trust again and end up disappointed again? One question becomes another, then another. Before long, you are carrying 10 different futures inside one tired body. I see how exhausting that has become. You wake up in today, but your thoughts are already living 3 months from now. You sit at the table, but part of you is somewhere in a conversation that has not happened. You lie down at night, but your mind keeps walking through doors that have not opened, trying to prepare itself for rooms it may never enter. And you call this preparation. Sometimes it is, but sometimes, my child, fear puts on the clothes of preparation because it knows you would never willingly invite fear to sit beside you, so it tells you to think a little longer. Check one more possibility. Imagine one more outcome. Make one more plan for what you will do if everything goes wrong. You believe that if you can think far enough ahead, perhaps nothing will surprise you. Perhaps nothing will hurt you. Perhaps you can arrive before the pain does and somehow keep it from entering. I understand why you learned to live this way. There were moments you did not see coming, changes you could not prepare for, words that arrived without warning, doors you thought would remain open, people you thought would remain close. After enough unexpected things, the heart begins to believe that seeing everything in advance is the same as being safe. But look at what it has cost you. You are tired before tomorrow even arrives. My beloved, come back. Not to next month, not to next year. Here. Come back to this breath. Come back to the place where your feet actually are. Feel the surface beneath them. Notice that this moment is asking much less of you than your mind has been asking. Right now, you do not need to survive every possibility. You only need to be here, with me. There are roads your mind has traveled 100 times that your life will never ask you to walk once. You have cried over endings that have not happened, defended yourself in arguments no one has started, prepared for losses that have not arrived. You have spent real strength on imaginary miles. No wonder your feet feel tired. No wonder your heart keeps asking for rest. This is not me criticizing you, my child. I am showing you where some of your strength has been going. You thought you were standing still, but inside, you have been running everywhere. So let yourself stop for a moment. Do not solve the next season. Do not rehearse the next conversation. Do not ask yourself what you will do if the fifth thing happens after the fourth thing that has not happened after the third. Stay here. I am here. And this moment is enough for us to meet in. There is wisdom in preparing for what is yours to prepare for. But there is no peace in demanding that your mind become a map of everything you cannot control. You were never meant to become your own map. And you were never meant to walk every possible road before choosing one. There is still something beneath your feet I want you to see. I have not forgotten, but before you can recognize it, my beloved, you must loosen your grip on the distance, because the road ahead is not the only thing exhausting you. You have been carrying tomorrow as though it already belonged in your hands. And I never asked you to carry tomorrow. Tomorrow was never meant to sit on your shoulders tonight, my child. But that is where you have been carrying it. You carry the conversation before anyone speaks. You carry the answer before it comes. You carry the possibility of losing something that is still in your hands. You carry the reaction someone might have, the disappointment that might follow, the silence that might come afterward. So much of what is weighing on you has not happened, and yet your body has been responding as if all of it already has. Notice your jaw. You have been holding it tighter than you realize. Notice your shoulders. Notice your hands. Sometimes your fingers curl into one another while your mind moves through another future, another possibility, another version of what could go wrong. Loosen them, my beloved. Just a little. You do not need tomorrow in your hands tonight. I know you believe you are protecting yourself by thinking ahead. And there is nothing wrong with wisdom. There is nothing wrong with preparing for what is truly yours to prepare for. But fear has learned how to sound responsible inside you. It says, think about it one more time. It says, you cannot rest until you know. It says, if you stop worrying, you will miss something. And because those words sound careful, you have mistaken them for wisdom. But wisdom can prepare and still sleep. Fear keeps watch over doors that have not even been built yet. My child, I never asked you to become the guard of every possible tomorrow. I asked you to walk with me. There is a difference. You have been trying to trust me with your life while quietly keeping responsibility for every outcome in your own hands. That is why surrender has felt so difficult. You thought surrender meant caring less. It does not. You can care deeply and still release what you cannot control. You can love someone without controlling what they choose. You can make a decision without controlling everything that follows it. You can take responsibility for your step without taking responsibility for the entire road. Let that settle gently. You are responsible for obedience. You are not responsible for omniscience. You do not have to know everything I know in order to walk with me. So breathe again. Slowly. Let your shoulders fall with the exhale. Open your fingers. You have been gripping tomorrow so tightly that today has barely had room to breathe. Give me the part you cannot see, not because it does not matter, because it matters too much to keep crushing it beneath the weight of your fear. Trust me with 1 hour before you try to trust me with 1 year. Trust me with this conversation before you demand to know every consequence. Trust me with this night before you ask me to explain next month. Faith does not always look like taking a giant step, my beloved. Sometimes faith is simply refusing to walk ahead of me. Sometimes it is allowing an unanswered question to remain unanswered for one more night without turning that silence into a prophecy of everything going wrong. I know that is difficult for you. I know uncertainty has hurt before. I know why you want guarantees. And I am not asking you to pretend that you suddenly feel fearless. Just loosen your grip. That is enough for now. There is still something I promised to show you about the ground beneath your feet. I have not forgotten it. You may think I have delayed because I do not have an answer. I have not. There are things happening beyond what you can see, my child, and some of them require no effort from you at all. That is the part you have struggled to believe, because when I become quiet, you assume you must become busy. When you cannot see me moving, you start moving everything yourself, and that is where I need to correct something gently. My silence does not mean I stopped working. I know what my silence has sounded like to you, my beloved. It has sounded like nothing, like you prayed and the words rose only as far as the ceiling, like you waited for some small movement, some change, some indication that I had heard you, and the days simply continued looking exactly the same. Morning came, evening came. The question stayed, and somewhere in that repetition, you began to wonder whether my quietness meant you had been left alone with the decision. I heard that thought. I did not turn away from you because you had it. Waiting becomes heavy when you cannot see what the waiting is doing. You can endure much more when you know where something is going. But when there is no explanation, no visible progress, no clear answer, even a short distance can begin to feel endless. I know. You have looked for signs in everything. A conversation, a change in someone's voice, a message arriving at a certain time, a door opening unexpectedly. You have asked me, is this it? Then when nothing followed, your heart sank a little lower. My child, I am not asking you to pretend the silence has been easy. I am asking you not to give it a meaning I never gave it. My silence was never my absence. You were watching the horizon. I was working beneath your feet. There are things I can prepare without announcing them. There are movements that make no sound where you are standing. There are places I am protecting you from reaching too early, and places within you I am strengthening before I ask you to move at all. You call some of this delay because you can only measure what you can see. I see more. I see what would happen if the answer arrived before your heart was ready to carry it. I see what is behind the door as clearly as you see what is in front of it. I see the road after the turn. You do not. And that difference is not punishment, my beloved. It is one of the reasons you can rest. You do not have to do my seeing for me. You do not have to fill my silence with your own frantic movement. Yet I know what you do when nothing seems to happen. You begin touching everything. Maybe I should send the message. Maybe I should call again. Maybe I should change the plan. Maybe I should return to what I already left. Maybe I should force the door because perhaps waiting means I have missed my chance. Be careful there, my child. Do not let discomfort make the decision that peace was meant to make with you. Do not manufacture an answer simply because silence makes you nervous. Stay with me. Let the unanswered thing remain unanswered for another breath. You are not losing ground by waiting beside me. Sometimes the deepest work I do in your life happens where there is nothing yet for you to point to and say, there, God is moving. You may not see movement. That does not mean there is none. Think about how much of your own life happened quietly before you recognized it. Healing that began before you noticed you were hurting less. Strength that formed before the day you discovered you could finally do what once frightened you. Peace that entered so softly you only recognized it when something that used to disturb you no longer had the same power. Not everything announces its arrival. Neither does my work. So let your shoulders remain low. Keep your hands loose. Do not reach for the handle simply because the hallway has become quiet. Trust me enough to wait without forcing proof from me. I know that asks something of you. I know part of you still wants a sign large enough to remove every question. But I am teaching your heart something quieter than certainty. I am teaching it my presence. And presence does not always explain itself. Sometimes it simply stays. I am staying. Even here. Even now. And there is still something beneath your feet I have promised to show you. We are getting closer. But first, my beloved, there is a door you have been looking back at for longer than you realize. You called its closing a loss. You wondered whether I had taken the road away from you. But a closed door is not always the end of the road. Some doors still live in your mind, my child. They closed a long time ago, but part of you still stands in front of them. You remember what you hoped would happen there. You remember how certain you were that this was the way forward. You had already imagined what life might look like on the other side. You had made room for it in your heart before you ever had the chance to step through. Then it closed. Maybe suddenly, maybe slowly enough for you to watch it happening, and you stood there longer than anyone knew. I saw you. I saw you ask whether you should knock again. I saw you search the silence for some reason to believe the answer might change. I heard the question you were almost afraid to bring to me. Why would you let me want something I could not keep? My beloved, I know that question carries pain. I will not cover it with a quick answer. Some endings hurt because what you hoped for mattered to you. Some closed doors leave an empty place behind them, and calling that emptiness redirection too quickly does not make it stop hurting. So I will not rush you past the grief. I was with you there too, but there is something I want you to stop doing. Stop measuring the whole road by the door that closed. A closed door can still belong to an open road. You have been looking at one ending and calling it the end of everything. It was not. There are turns you cannot recognize while you are standing inside them. Redirection often feels like rejection while you are still standing at the turn. Only later do you look back and understand that the road did not disappear. It changed direction. There have already been moments like this in your life. Things you once begged to keep that you can now see differently. Places you once fought to enter that no longer look like home. Plans whose ending once felt unbearable, yet somehow life continued beyond them. You could not see beyond the door then, but beyond it existed anyway. Remember that now. Not every closed door means you failed. Not every delay means you missed me. Not every change in direction means you misunderstood everything. Sometimes protection does not feel like protection when it first arrives. Sometimes mercy disappoints you before you recognize its kindness. And sometimes, my child, you simply will not understand yet. You are allowed to leave some things unexplained. Faith does not require you to invent a beautiful reason for every painful ending. It asks you to trust me, even when the reason remains outside your sight. So look at your hands again. Are you still holding the handle of something that is already closed? Are you still trying to reopen a season because moving forward without it feels too uncertain? You do not need to keep knocking to prove your faith. Take your hand off the door, my beloved, slowly. Let it rest. You can grieve what did not happen without building your home beside it. You can honor what mattered without making it the only road I am allowed to use. Trust me enough to turn your face away from what is closed, not because it meant nothing. Because your story did not end there. There is ground beneath you even here. There has always been ground beneath you. Now we have reached the place where I can show you what I have been asking you to notice since the beginning. You kept looking into the distance because you thought guidance meant seeing where everything would lead. You kept asking for certainty because you thought peace required knowing the entire road. You kept waiting for enough light to remove every unknown before you moved. But, my child, what if I never intended to show you the whole road at once? What if you have been waiting for a map while I have been giving you something else? Something smaller, something closer, something sufficient. Look down now, my beloved, not toward the horizon, not toward the door behind you. Look at where your feet are. The answer I have been holding for you was never about seeing farther. It was about learning how to walk when you cannot. And now I can show you. I prepare the step before your foot arrives. You have been asking me for a map, my child. I have been giving you a lamp. That is what I wanted you to see. Not a light thrown across every mile ahead. Not every turn explained. Not every ending revealed before you begin. A lamp. Enough light for where your feet are now. Long ago these words were written. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Notice what I called it. A lamp. Not the morning sun, not a flood of light stretching all the way to the horizon. A lamp stays close to the one carrying it. It shows the ground nearby. It gives enough light to place one foot down without demanding that the whole road reveal itself at once. And that, my beloved, is where you have been exhausting yourself. You kept asking, where does this road end? I was saying, look where your foot goes next. You asked what would happen 6 months from now. I gave you enough grace for today. You asked how everything would work out. I showed you one thing you could do faithfully. And because the answer seemed smaller than the certainty you wanted, you sometimes thought I had not answered at all. But I was guiding you. I am guiding you still. My child, you do not need to see the end of the road to know who is walking it with you. Think of a person moving through darkness with a small light held close. The light does not reveal the entire journey. It reveals the next patch of ground. Then the person moves, and the light moves too. Another piece of the road appears, then another. The road was there before the traveler could see it. Visibility did not create the ground. It only revealed enough of it to walk. Let that reach the part of you that has been afraid. The next part of your life does not begin only when you understand all of it. You do not have to make the darkness disappear before you take a faithful step. You only need enough light for what I am asking of you now. Maybe that step is small. Make the call. Rest tonight. Say what is true. Wait another day. Finish the ordinary thing already in your hands. Or do nothing yet because I have not asked you to move. Do not despise a small step because your fear demanded a complete map. Small obedience is still obedience. Quiet guidance is still guidance. And waiting beside me is still movement when waiting is what I have asked of you. So stop demanding from yourself the certainty I never demanded from you. Breathe. Look down. What is actually in front of you? Not the imagined 10th step. This one. Take the step you can see, my beloved. Leave the unseen one with me. When you arrive there, I will not suddenly discover the road at the same moment you do. I am already there. That is the part you keep forgetting. You experience your life one moment at a time. I am not trapped inside your horizon. I know the turn before you reach it. I know the door before you touch it. I know where the ground becomes uneven and where you will need to slow down. Your inability to see those things does not mean no one sees them. I do. And I am not asking you to walk one step without me. I am not promising that every step will feel easy. Some will require courage. Some will require patience. Some will feel so ordinary that you will wonder whether anything important is happening at all. But you will not walk them alone. So hold the lamp, my child. Not the map you have been trying to draw from fear. Let me keep what belongs beyond the light. Your job was never to illuminate the whole road. Your job is to stay close enough to me to recognize the next faithful step when it appears, and when it does, walk. Slowly if you need to, with questions if you still have them, with trembling hands if that is how you arrive. You do not need perfect confidence to follow me. You need willingness. One step, then another when the light reaches it. And perhaps now you can understand something you could not understand when we began. You were never lost simply because you could not see far. My beloved, uncertain is not the same as unguided. Uncertain is not the same as unguided, my child. You have confused those two things for longer than you realize. Because you could not explain where your life was going, you began to call yourself lost. Because you did not have a clear answer, you assumed you had missed my voice. Because other people seemed able to speak confidently about their next season while you were still asking questions about yours, you wondered whether something was wrong with you. There is nothing strange about having questions while you walk with me. There is nothing shameful about taking a slower step when the ground ahead is unfamiliar. You do not become lost simply because you cannot see far. A child walking beside someone they trust does not need to know every street ahead. The child may not know the name of the road, may not know how long the journey will take, may not know what waits around the next corner, but the child knows whose hand is there. My beloved, you have spent so much energy asking, where am I going? I want you to ask something quieter. Who is going with me? Because knowing me will carry you through places that knowing the entire plan never could. Plans change. Timelines move. Doors close. Things you expected to happen in one season sometimes happen differently, later, or not at all. But I remain. So when tomorrow comes, do not wake up demanding that the entire road explain itself to you. Wake up and look for the next faithful thing. It may not look important. Get out of bed. Make the call you know you need to make. Answer the message with honesty. Finish what is already in your hands. Apologize if an apology is yours to give. Rest if your body needs rest. Wait if there is still no clear reason to move. Do the next faithful thing. Then stop. You do not have to immediately ask what comes 5 steps after it. Let me meet you there first. This is how trust begins to become a way of living instead of something you only reach for when everything becomes too heavy. One ordinary decision. One quiet surrender. One step taken without demanding proof of every step after it. You may still feel uncertain while you do it. That is all right. Courage does not always remove the trembling before your foot moves. Sometimes your hands still shake. Sometimes your voice is still soft. Sometimes you take the step and immediately wonder whether you were brave enough. I am not measuring your faith by how fearless you look. I am looking at whether you are willing to stay near me. That is enough. My child, you have called yourself stuck because your progress did not look dramatic. But some of the most important movement in your life has been almost invisible. The day you stopped chasing an answer that was hurting you. The moment you chose not to return to an old pattern. The morning you got up and did what needed to be done even though nothing felt resolved. The evening you finally allowed yourself to rest without solving everything first. Those were steps too. Do not overlook them, because no one applauded. I saw everyone, and I was present in every ordinary inch. So loosen your need to name the destination before you have finished walking toward it. You do not need to say, I know exactly where my life is going. Say something simpler. I know I am not walking alone. Let that be enough today. Let it be enough when the road bends. Let it be enough when the light reaches only a little farther than your feet. You are being led, my beloved. Not hurried, not dragged, led. There will be moments when I ask you to move, and moments when I ask you to remain where you are. Trust me in both. Do not turn waiting into failure. Do not turn movement into control. Stay near me. Take what is yours to take. Leave what is mine in my hands. And when you feel yourself reaching again for every outcome, every explanation, every mile beyond the light, look at your own hands. You have been holding them closed for a long time. Now, my child, I want to teach you another way to walk, not with your hands gripping the outcome, but with your hands open enough to let me hold what you cannot control. Open your hands, my beloved. You do not have to reach for anything. Not this time. Just notice how naturally your fingers want to close when you feel uncertain, how quickly your body tries to hold tighter when your heart becomes afraid of losing control. You have lived that way for longer than you know. Holding the answer, holding the timing, holding other people's reactions, holding the future as if one moment of loosened grip might cause everything to fall apart. But look at your hands now. They were never large enough to hold all of that. They were not made to. Turn your palms upward. Let your fingers rest. Let your shoulders come down from the place where worry keeps pulling them. And breathe. Slowly. My child, you do not have to carry the outcome of every faithful step you take. That part belongs to me. You can speak honestly, without controlling how another person receives your words. You can walk through an open door without knowing everything waiting on the other side. You can release a closed door without understanding why it closed. You can wait without knowing exactly when waiting will end. This is surrender, and I know that word has frightened you before. You thought surrender meant giving up. You thought opening your hands meant losing what mattered. You thought releasing control meant becoming careless with your own life. It does not. Surrender is not refusing to walk. It is refusing to drag the whole road behind you. It is taking the step that belongs to you and allowing me to carry what comes after it. My beloved, you have been trying to do both. You take the step. Then you immediately run ahead in your mind to manage the result. You say the words and then spend hours wondering how they were received. You make the decision and then repeatedly return to it, examining it from every direction as if worry could somehow change what comes next. No wonder you are tired. Give me the outcome. You do not need to throw it away. Just place it somewhere stronger than your own hands. Here, with me. Breathe again. Feel your chest rise without asking it to brace for something. Let the breath leave slowly. Nothing has to be solved during this exhale. Nothing has to prove itself. You are simply here, learning that an open hand can still be a safe hand. Some things may remain uncertain after this moment. That is all right. Trust does not require uncertainty to disappear. Trust gives uncertainty somewhere to rest. Let it rest with me. You have been asking yourself to feel completely confident before you release control, but confidence may come later. Release can begin now, one finger at a time, one expectation, one imagined outcome, one unanswered question. You do not have to surrender your whole life in one dramatic moment. Give me this hour. Give me this decision. Give me the part of tomorrow that keeps returning to your thoughts tonight. When it returns again, you can give it to me again. I will not become impatient with you. My child, trust can be relearned slowly. It can return through small acts no one else sees. A phone left untouched for 10 quiet minutes. A prayer that ends without demanding an immediate answer. A night when you allow yourself to sleep before the problem is solved. A step taken without spending the next hour trying to control where it leads. These things look small. They are not. They are your hands learning to open again, and perhaps you can feel something different now. Not because the road suddenly became visible, not because every question disappeared. The room may still look exactly as it did when we began, but your grip is different. Your shoulders are different. Your breathing is different. The road did not have to change first for you to stop carrying all of it at once. Keep your hands open a little longer, my beloved. Let me hold what you cannot control. And while they remain open, remember something. This is not the first uncertain road you have walked. There were other moments when you could not see what came next. Other nights when you thought you would not know how to continue. Yet somehow, step by step, you came through them. You were walking on prepared ground before you ever knew to call it that. And if you look back carefully now, my child, you may begin to see just how many times the road was forming beneath you before your eyes could recognize it. Look back for a moment, my child. Not to return, only to notice. There were other nights when you did not know what came next. You remember some of them. The questions were different then, but the feeling was familiar. The same tightness, the same need to know, the same fear that if you could not see the next part clearly, perhaps there was no next part at all. And yet you are here. Somehow, the road continued. Think about the thing you once believed you would never get through. You did not know how you would carry the next week, and then the week passed. You did not know what you would say when the conversation finally came, and when it arrived, you found words. You thought one ending had taken the whole future with it. It had not. There was still ground beyond it. You simply could not see that ground from where you were standing then. My beloved, you have walked on more prepared ground than you ever noticed. Not every moment was dramatic. Most were not. Sometimes, my guidance looked like a delay that frustrated you. Sometimes it looked like a thought that quietly told you, not yet. Sometimes it was strength for one ordinary morning when you were certain you had none left. Sometimes it was a person who said something simple at exactly the hour you needed to hear it. Sometimes it was a door that remained closed until you finally stopped trying to force it. And sometimes, my faithfulness looked like nothing more than this. You made it through the day. Do not dismiss that. There were days you thought would break you. They ended. There were nights that seemed too long. Morning still found you. There were moments when you could not imagine yourself standing where you are now. Yet here your feet are. The road was forming beneath you while you were still asking where it was. You did not recognize every step as guidance when you took it. You do not have to. A road remains a road even when the traveler does not understand its shape. So let yesterday's faithfulness teach today's fear how to be quiet. Not because yesterday guarantees that tomorrow will unfold exactly as you want. I am not asking you to turn memory into another form of control. I am asking you to remember who was with you. I was there when you knew what to do. I was there when you did not. I was there in the open door. I was there beside you when the door closed. I was there in the answer, and I remained when the answer took longer than you wanted. That is what you can carry forward. Not certainty about circumstances, confidence in my presence. Look around you now, my child. The phone may still be where you placed it. The message may still be unfinished. The decision may still be waiting. Nothing in the room needed to rearrange itself for something inside you to begin settling. Notice your hands. They are not holding quite as tightly now. Notice your shoulders. Notice your breath. You came into this moment trying to reach far enough into the future to make yourself safe. Now you are learning something quieter. You do not need to reach that far. I am already there, and I am here. The same hand can hold both places. So when fear tells you again that you cannot move because you cannot see enough, remember the roads behind you. You could not see all of those either. Still, step by step, you walked them. My beloved, I have never needed you to know the entire way in order to lead you. I only needed you close enough to follow. Keep your hands open. Let the old evidence settle gently into you. You have been guided before. You are being guided now. And the ground beneath you is not waiting for your fear to understand it before it becomes steady. Soon you will lift your eyes again. The road ahead may still disappear beyond the light. Let it. You no longer need to chase the horizon, because when you look at that unanswered message again, when tomorrow arrives, when the next decision stands quietly before you, you will not be standing there as the same person who began this night. You do not need the whole road anymore. You only need to know where to place your next step. And, my child, I will meet you there. You can lift your eyes now, my child. Look at the room again. The same walls are here, the same phone, the same unfinished message may still be waiting on the screen. The decision you carried into this moment may not have disappeared. Tomorrow has not suddenly opened itself and shown you everything it holds. And yet something is different. You are. Your hands are not gripping as tightly. Your shoulders are lower. Your breath is reaching places in your chest that fear had kept closed. You thought peace would come when I showed you the whole road. But peace began when you realized you never needed to see it all. Let that truth remain with you. You do not need the whole road. You need me. For so long, my beloved, you believed certainty would make you safe. If you could know what happens next, you could prepare. If you could see the ending, you could finally breathe. If I would only explain every turn, then you would trust me enough to move. But trust was never meant to begin at the end of the road. It begins here, before the answer, before the turn, before your eyes can see what my hands are already preparing. Look beneath your feet, my child. This is what I wanted you to notice from the beginning. You thought you were standing at the edge of nowhere. You were not. There has been ground beneath you the whole time, and there will be ground when you take the next step. You may not see it tonight. That is all right. You may wake tomorrow and still have questions. That is all right too. Questions do not frighten me. Your uncertainty does not make me leave, and your inability to see tomorrow does not limit my ability to prepare it. So when morning comes, do not pick up the entire road again. Take only what belongs to that morning. One breath, one prayer, one honest decision, one faithful step. Then let me meet you there. And when the next step becomes visible, we will take that one too, together. You do not have to run ahead of me anymore. You do not have to keep rehearsing every possible ending. You do not have to stand at every closed door asking whether your life ended there. And you do not have to force open what I have asked you to release. Trust me, my beloved, not because you suddenly understand everything. Trust me because I have stayed. I stayed through the silence. I stayed through the waiting. I stayed beside you when you questioned the road. I stayed when fear convinced you that standing still meant being forgotten. And I am staying now. Take one more slow breath. Let it come without forcing it. Let it leave without holding it. Open your hands again. There is nothing you need to grab before this moment ends. The future will still be there tomorrow, and so will I. Let that be enough. You have spent so many nights trying to carry tomorrow into today that rest began to feel irresponsible. It is not. Rest, my child. Rest before everything is solved. Rest while some questions remain unanswered. Rest without requiring the horizon to become visible. The road does not depend on your ability to see it. It depends on my faithfulness to lead you, and I am faithful in the light you can see and in the distance you cannot. So let the phone stay quiet a little longer. Let the unfinished thing remain unfinished tonight if it needs to. Let your shoulders stay low. Let your hands stay open. You are not behind. You are not abandoned. You are not wandering alone through a road no one understands. You are walking with me. Slowly is enough. One step is enough. Even waiting is enough when I am asking you to wait. You asked me for the whole map. I gave you my presence. And one day, my beloved, you will look behind you and see a road where tonight you could only see darkness. But you do not need to see that road yet. For now, look at the small circle of light around your feet. There is enough. Enough for this moment. Enough for the next step. Enough for us to walk together. So do not chase the horizon tonight. Stay close to me. And when your foot reaches for the ground you cannot yet see, remember this. I will already be there. Rest now, my child. You do not need the whole road. You only need enough light to walk with me. Amen.